morning, guys. I'm so happy to be back. I did not intend to take such a long break. We went on summer vacation with Nicholas's family and it was so nice. And then after that, I ended up having a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, including working on my blog. And when I say working on my blog, I mean redesigning the whole thing. I'm working with a fantastic web designer and it's a whole thing that I will share with you guys the process, because the blog is a big part of what I do. But as a recipe developer, my passion is making recipes and trying to make them as good as possible, trying to make stuff that you guys can, easily replicate at home. So I love to test the recipes and make sure that they're as good as they can be. And that's where I want to be. I want to be in the kitchen doing that work. And I do love the other side of it, which is like essentially the marketing of it, like getting those recipes out into the world so people can try them and try plant-based food and see how delicious it can be. But that's like a whole different skill set. And that's, writing and photography and SEO and social media marketing and all these other things that are a part of what I do for my job, but definitely something that I've learned little by little along the way, and I still just do not feel like an expert in. That is not, like, marketing is not my expertise. I love to cook. So if I want people to find those recipes and try vegan food, then I have to, really spend time making sure that my blog and my social medias and all of that are as good as they can be. And so I've kind of hit the pause button on every platform recently since we've been back, and I'm just trying to make sure everything is working properly and looks as good as it can so that, my work can get out there for people to enjoy. So that's what I've been up to. I have some more things to share with you down the line, but right now I'm just getting ready and I've got some work to do today. We're also going to try some heatless curls because we had not a flood, but like the under sink area totally flooded. And I don't mean it was dripping. I mean everything that was under the sink totally damaged. Like my blow dryer, my straightener, 2 curling irons, soaking wet and obviously not safe to use. So I haven't been using any heat on my hair, which is great for my hair, but I don't know, it's just kind of, I don't know what to do with it, and it feels like it really needs to be cut. Like it's getting really heavy and thick at the bottom, and it's just like, it won't cooperate. But I'm gonna try heatless curls with you guys tonight when we get home. I've seen that it works. I know that it works because I've seen it done countless times, but I just don't know exactly how to do it. So we'll try that together. Later today, we'll go into town and I have to go to the post office to drop off a gift for a friend of mine who lives in LA. I really want to go to the bookstore. And then right next to the bookstore, there is a natural grocery store that has really nice produce and some fun vegan stuff that I can't always find at the grocery store. So yeah, just a couple of errands, but it'll feel really good to get that crossed off the list. So that's my plan for today. And I have noticed this summer that even though it is so hot, I think it's hotter than last summer, my skin is behaving so much better and I'm not breaking out. And I think a big part of that, I mean, I still have like some scarring and stuff, but my actual skin is not breaking out, which is such a relief because last summer was really when it started to get bad. And then it kind of just got worse and worse after that. And I think a big part of it, obviously skincare is so important, but I also think that I haven't been wearing like makeup, like heavy makeup on my face. I'm not wearing heavy foundation, and I really think that has benefited my skin. You guys know that I love Typology. I've been using this for a long time now, and this is skincare that's tinted. So you get a little bit of coverage, you get a little bit of color and kind of evening out the skin tone, but it's not a heavy foundation, and I really think it's made a big difference in my skin. I teamed up with them to bring you this video because I am such a big fan of this brand. They are vegan and cruelty-free. They're made in France, and their whole thing is about minimalism. You can probably tell from the packaging they love a minimal aesthetic, but beyond that, it's what's inside is minimal. It's just what you need, nothing you don't need, and that's the whole ethos ethos of their brand. They want to create products that are effective with as minimal, like few ingredients as possible. And this is great because it's a tinted serum. So it's nourishing my skin. It has vitamin C and aloe, but it has a little bit of a tint. So I get a little bit of coverage, and I find that it's very buildable. So I can just do kind of a light wash where it's really light and my natural skin kind of shows through. And then I can kind of build it up where I want more coverage, or do a whole nother layer if I'm going out and I want a more full coverage effect. And then after that, I will use their concealer. This is the serum concealer, and it has such a nice consistency. It's nice and creamy without being greasy, and it's not too liquidy. So I find that when I put it, you know, to cover any kind of acne scarring, it really stays where I want it to go and covers without getting cakey. It has a little bit of caffeine in it too, so it's great to put under the eyes. And Typology is offering my viewers, just you guys, a special offer where you can get a free radiance mask with a purchase of $40. So if you're gonna pick this up, you can get a free face mask. And this face mask I use all the time. I've used it in videos where I was talking about Typology, and other videos where I was just showing my skincare routine, because it is a part of my routine. I use all the time. The best way to use it, the best like feeling, is you come home after a long day, you wash off all your makeup in the shower, and when you get out of the shower, you put on this mask. And I do a nice thick layer. It has yellow clay and turmeric, and it just feels so good on the skin. And then when you wash it off, your skin is just brighter, it feels fresher, it feels so clean. And it's my favorite kind of like Sunday evening ritual, or sometimes I'll do it in the morning if I really want to have a nice glow to my skin for the day, especially on a no makeup day. So really love that mask, and I love that you guys can get it for free with your purchase of $40 if you use the link in the description box below. Definitely check that out. It's only valid for 1 week though, so make sure you check it out soon. I am going to finish doing my makeup, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Lunch was so good. I definitely recommend making that combo because it's the perfect mix of like healthy, crunchy, refreshing, but also nostalgic and just kind of like an old school classic. I love that combination, whether it's a dinner item or a breakfast item or lunch. Like I just love when you're getting the best of both worlds, and meals like this really feel that way for me. So this has been a lunch I make all the time. But now I'm just gonna do a couple of little house related chores. I usually like to break up the workday. Since I work from home, I like to kind of break up the workday by just having a lunch break and then kind of doing a couple of little nagging things around the house, like cleaning the kitchen, throwing in a load of laundry, stuff like that. It gets me up and moving, and it makes me feel like things are being taken care of, so that way I can go back to my desk and focus. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, then get some work done on the computer, and then we will head out. Have like a summer uniform, but for me it's a big comfy flowy dress. I try to get a bunch of different colors and just rotate the big flowy dresses, and then I will do a straw bag, a straw hat, and some little sandals that are the same color, and I pair that with everything. I just kind of change up the dress, keep the accessories the same. And I've had this bag for years, like years and years. I wear it every single summer, and it's just my go-to, don't even have to think about it outfit. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, and it's so comfortable. I've really gotten into the floppy hat. Nicholas makes fun of me because he thinks it looks silly, but you guys, the amount of like degrees cooler that I feel when I go out on a really hot day, it just like shading your face and shading a little bit of your shoulders, I really took for granted what a big difference that makes. All right, so I'm gonna go pack up my bag, grab the gift from my friend so we can ship that out, and then we'll head to the bookstore. I know that everyone is really obsessed with this book called Swan Song right now. I've seen it all over social media, and it looks like a very summery book, so I might check that out if they have it. I don't know, but let's go check out the bookstore. So little tiny grocery haul. I picked up some cheese because tomorrow night I'm going to be making some mac and cheese. I actually have 3 macaroni and cheese recipes on my blog. One is a butternut squash recipe, one is a butternut and bacon, and then one is kind of like a classic mac and cheese. And I usually make the butternut version, so we're going to do the classic, and I needed some cheese for that. Also got some tempeh. I like to use this for sandwiches. And then I've never tried these sausages before, but I do like this brand, and I think it's really cool that they're made out of fava beans and pea protein. So I'm gonna give those a go, probably with the mac and cheese, and then we'll have just some sauteed kale with that, and that will be a very delicious and easy dinner. Coconut water. So good. But anyway, I'm gonna get started on dinner, and it's gonna be very easy because we have leftovers, but I'm gonna show you how I made this recipe. This is not the most summery meal in the world, but it's just good when you want something that's homey and comforting. We've been making the same thing a lot, like over and over. Been kind of in a food rut, I would say, which happens from time to time. We've been making a lot of our favorite things over and over because it's easy and quick, but also I've been recipe testing, so it's a lot of like the exact same meal over and over, which I don't mind, but it's just nice to change it up sometimes. And my mom recently made my cabbage rolls recipe for friends of hers, and they all loved it, and it reminded me that I haven't made that recipe, I don't think, since we've been to New Jersey. I think the last time was back in LA when I was recipe testing it. So it's been a really long time, and there's just something so great about recipes like this because, again, it's kind of that best of both worlds thing. You're getting a lot of good veggies and super nutrient dense foods, but it feels really homey and hearty, and there's something very old school about recipes like this. It makes a lot, so we've been able to kind of cook once and then have some leftovers, which is always my favorite thing. So I'm going to show you how I make my vegan stuffed cabbage rolls, and I'll put the full recipe in the description box below. We're just going to go ahead and start with some regular green cabbage that you can find at the grocery store, and all we're going to do is remove the stem, and this will help to open up the cabbage, and while it boils, which is just going to boil for a couple minutes to soften it up, the leaves will very easily peel off because we've made that cut in the bottom. I like to cover almost all the way to the top with water in a big pot and sprinkle with salt, and I actually used 2 cabbages for this recipe. Next, we're going to make the filling, and I went back and forth between trying recipes that had only vegan meat or only plant-based versions, and I actually found that my favorite was a mix of the 2. So I start with some mushrooms, and you want to cook them undisturbed for a few minutes so they get nice and brown and a lot of the moisture kind of cooks out of the mushrooms. We'll add some onions and garlic and then just a couple of spices. We're going to do regular paprika, salt, and pepper. Add that to the pan to bloom the spices and make them super flavorful. And then we're gonna add some uncooked rice and stir this all together. So that's the plant-based half, and then the other half is gonna be some vegan beef. This adds a really great texture and flavor, and we're gonna put that into the bowl along with the rice and the mushrooms and the spices and add lots of flavor with some fresh parsley, fresh dill, and some vegan Worcestershire sauce. This gives it a lot of depth and a lot of meaty flavor. Go ahead and mix this on up just like you're making a meatloaf or meatballs and set that aside. Now the cabbage is nice and soft, and as you can see, we can just easily peel off the leaves. You want to trim or remove the inner rib, but don't worry, nothing's going to waste, especially in old-fashioned recipes like this. You really make the most of every single part of the ingredients that you're using, so we just kind of set the rib aside, and then I put the leaves together like this. You're gonna scoop about 2 tablespoons to 3 tablespoons of the filling into the top third, the one that's closest to you, and then tuck in the sides as you roll forward. And you wanna do this fairly tightly, but it doesn't have to be too tight, because if it's too tight, it can actually open up while it's cooking. So you wanna make it nice and snug. So I kind of fold it over, fold in the sides, and then roll forward. And I just use my fingers to kind of tuck everything in as I go. And you're just gonna repeat the process with all of the leaves and all of the filling. Then you may remember we sliced out some of the ribs of the leaves, just because when that's part of the leaf still, it's actually hard to roll. It kind of bends and breaks a little bit, and it's just easier to remove it. And then I finally chop it, and I'm gonna place this in the bottom of the bowl. And you can do this with the ribs of the leaves and any broken leaves or piece of cabbage that you're just not able to roll with the filling. You can chop it up nice and finely and put it on the bottom as kind of like a bed for the cabbage rolls to rest on. So then I place the cabbage rolls on top. You want them to fit together nicely so they hold their shape, but not too compact to where it's like really tight. And this is going to either simmer on the stove or bake in the oven. I like to bake it in the oven, and it's going to infuse that rice and those veggies and the cabbage with all of the flavor of the onions and the spices. It's so good. I serve some of the cabbage rolls up on a platter like this, and I like to top with a zigzag of sour cream, or you can serve some sour cream on the side to dollop on top. I also like to sprinkle some fresh herbs, like the same herbs that are inside, so I did dill and parsley on top with some black pepper. And you guys, this is so good, and it's really amazing how hearty and flavorful and tender the center of these cabbage rolls becomes. And it's really amazing because most of it is vegetables and rice with a little bit of vegan meat, and it just really has this hearty, meaty, filling quality that is just super satiating and comforting. You can serve this with some boiled potatoes and roasted veggies for a hearty, comforting, authentic Romanian style meal that's perfect for a holiday or festive occasion. So I just did some heatless curls, struggled a lot. I've seen a lot of different tutorials where people go all in the same direction, or they'll alternate and kind of braid their hair into it. And I think both can achieve like very pretty results. But one, I think it was my first time, so just getting it all in the same direction was difficult enough. So that's what I did. I kind of took strands from the front and then strands from the back and like joined them together while I wrapped it around, all going in the same direction, kind of away from my face. And the positive news is that it did come out a couple times while I was practicing, and already I was starting to see some curl formations. So I think it might work as long as I can like keep this in my hair overnight. I have it clipped up in the back just while I get ready for bed. And then before I go to bed, I'll take the clip out and I will show you what it looks like in the morning. Okay, so that was a fail. This came out in like 10 minutes maximum. First of all, my hair was like falling out of it. I just don't think I wrapped it tightly enough. And then also, this was a little bit like, I couldn't quite find a right position, and the more I moved around, the more my hair fell out of it. So I'm gonna have to practice a little bit more. If you guys have any heatless waves tips, please let me know. I've watched some short hair tutorials, so I know it's possible, including a method that's like this. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna go get started on my day. I've got some work to do, and then Nicholas and I are gonna go see the new Inside Out 2, so that should be fun. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in a video very soon.